Here's something important and new. Reports the FBI is now investigating whether Russian propaganda efforts in the U.S. broke federal criminal law. A former D.C. writer for Sputnik, a Russia-linked English-language website and supposedly news organization that targets American readers, now says he was interviewed by the FBI and that they wanted to know where did my orders come from and if I ever got any direction from Moscow. That's in a new report from Yahoo's Hunter Walker. Now, that writer, Andrew Feinberg, says his supervisors would regularly say, Moscow wants this or Moscow wants that. The FBI has also now obtained thousands of internal emails from this group, Sputnik, so investigators will see how the outlet ran from the inside. And another former Sputnik staffer tells Yahoo the outlet pushed him to try to obtain private emails of former CIA Director John Brennan. He says he refused because he viewed that as a request to commit criminal espionage. For its part, Sputnik responded today by quoting a Russian official who says this inquiry undermines press freedom. Now, let's look at this fairly. If the government is investigating a real news outlet for its journalism, that could be bad for press freedom. But that's actually the whole question the feds are investigating. Are outlets like Sputnik independent news or Kremlin propaganda? The difference matters because there is certainly broad freedom in America to write what you want, including writing nice things about adversaries of the U.S. government. But federal law draws a line at foreign government propaganda. It's illegal for our adversaries to fraudulently pose as American media if they're actually something else. And that line was drawn at the dawn of World War II to combat Nazi propaganda, because the Nazis had established an extensive underground propaganda apparatus using American firms and citizens, according to a Justice Department report. Translation: in America, you do have the freedom to write about the Nazis, but you don't have the freedom to write for the Nazis and pretend it's independent journalism. Now, that law is a little obscure, but it's gotten more attention recently because of reports that General Mike Flynn didn't report payments from foreign governments. The law is the Foreign Agents Registration Act, and it keeps cropping up in these Russia-related investigations. Hunter Walker from Yahoo broke that story and joins me, as well as David Rothkopf, columnist for The Washington Post and a foreign policy analyst. Hunter, this is what you found. Where does this inquiry go?
Well, we're already seeing that it may be widening, because the story that I did with my colleague Mike Isikoff focused on Sputnik, which is this English language website and newswire that is funded by the Russian government. But, you know, just this afternoon, we've seen RT, which is an English language TV station run by Russia, and they're reporting now that one of their suppliers has been contacted by the DOJ and told that they must register under this act, the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA. So it does seem that this is widening. We've really never seen this with FARA being used to go after foreign media, so it's kind of hard to tell where this would go. FARA does allow for criminal penalties of up to 5 years in jail, but, you know, as you were alluding to, it wouldn't necessarily ban a foreign media outlet. It would just require them to give better information about their finances and the material they're putting out. They would be required to file regular reports. So potentially this could just mean that Sputnik has to do more paperwork, but it also could mean that some people who were found to have deliberately obscured their role as direct foreign agents could be in trouble.
Well, right, and it's more than paperwork in the sense that, David, the paperwork would get people in trouble. But the question is, what are you? Are you a propaganda outlet? Are you a foreign government? Or are you media? And we live in a world where those lines are blurrier than ever. This was how strongly the French president put it, standing next to Vladimir Putin, calling out Sputnik from this story, and, to Hunter's point, RT.
Dire les choses en vérité, mais Russia Today et Sputnik ne se sont pas comportés comme des organes de presse et des journalistes, mais ils se sont comportés comme des organes d'influence, de propagande et de propagande mensongère.
False propaganda, no more, no less.
Yeah, and part of a pattern. And I think one of the most important parts of this is not, you know, how does this tie to the Trump-Russia campaign? It's us looking at how Russia is trying to systematically influence American democracy, just as it tried to systematically influence French democracy. And you have to look at RT and Sputnik and bots and, you know, outreach from government representatives to political campaigns as part of a really comprehensive effort that's still going on now. And one of the things we have to do is address the 2016 election. But it's just as important that we address the 2018 and the 2020 elections and ensure that this kind of meddling doesn't go on.
And in your view, does Vladimir Putin see the presentation of this as a key part of its efficacy, meaning a Kremlin news organization that says, here's what Putin says, is different than trying to get into the bloodstream online, as you say, in ways where people don't realize the source?
I think Vladimir Putin is saying, let me use all the tools at my disposal. I also know that if my media discredits other media and we get into a debate about what's true and what's not true, that everybody is compromised. And that's what he's been using RT and that's what he's been using Sputnik to do, to undermine the position of legitimate media.
So that confusion and chaos is a goal in and of itself?
In this particular case, fake news is a Putin strategy.
Right. Hunter, just briefly, your view of these former employees that you spoke to.
Well, the company says that they've all had performance issues, but the Justice Department is clearly taking it seriously. And as David was alluding to, RT and Sputnik have both been described by the U.S. intelligence community as a key part of the quote-unquote influence campaign by Russia to influence the election.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.